Amon-Ra and Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network, Woodward Sports.
Hey, let's go. Wednesday show, August 28th, 2024. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button and hit the subscribe button. Coming up on 67,000 subscribers on this platform. Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you, my friend.
You guys got to watch the movie Old Dads. I saw it earlier today. It's a great movie. It's with Bill Burr, Bokeem Woodbine, and I can never think of the last guy. Maz, you know the last guy.
That's my favorite guy.
The Jersey guy. He's funny as heck. Everything he's in, he's funny. He's always the
You
brother.
talking about that Sal guy?
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
100%. But anyway, it's just talking about how boomer dads are
Bobby
trying to...
Cannavale.
That's what his name is.
Oh,
Talking about how boomer dads are dealing with the new world, new Gen Z world, and different caretakers or teachers or principals of schools, or just the inclusion, or you can't be so angry and what's wrong with you, and scooters in the road. Just had the same situation happen when I was at a good old Birmingham roast over there. Just a guy asking me tons of things about coffees and sizes and things that I didn't know. So can I get an almond joy? What size would you like? I said, let me get a grande. Well, this isn't Starbucks. I said, well, I don't know the difference in size. We have a large, we have a medium. I said, well, let me get a medium then. He said, well, why you don't have to be so aggressive with the ask. I said, didn't ask aggressively. I just don't understand all the questions. Just give me a coffee. I work at Lady James. Give you a coffee? I said, I've got to be getting punked.
Come on, guy.
I've got to be getting punked.
Dude.
And then I'm like, yo, I can't.
Hey, we had a technical director like that. If you remember back in the day.
I don't even want. Oh, it was. No names. No names.
I know the owner. You want me to talk to him?
I'm like, this is true. Please, could you put the good word in? I'm just trying to get a coffee, trying to get a yogurt parfait, and get on with doing my show.
Those things are so good, by the way.
Pretty smooth, man. I throw the oats and the granola in there. I think Joel would be excited. So, not to be a Buzz Killington or a millennial or whatever the hell they call us. Good to see you guys ready to do the show.
That's what's up.
Listen, you ever see that Curb Your Enthusiasm when Larry David walks into the coffee shop? His wife orders the thing, and then he goes up and he goes, give me one of those crappy, whatever latte crappuccino, whatever that crap thing is that you give me one of them. Like, it's so, he does it so well. Yeah. Larry David. It's
and they get pissed.
It's so well.
I'm not trying to disrespect the barista space, but
just do better, Braylon.
Just give me a coffee.
Just work with me and make it easy. Like I've been going to that coffee shop for 4 years now. Like I'm not an aggressive guy.
Let me work with you.
Okay.
Let's say good afternoon to Pete Spivak and the
What's
great
up,
KG.
boys?
How you guys doing?
What's up?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I got to watch that Counter Stallions doc last night.
Very,
man.
Yes, very entertaining.
What was your perspective, Mr. KG?
Well, I thought it was well produced. I felt like they didn't lean too much to one side or the other, but they did do a lot of good explaining on what's going on. The NCAA is a joke, as we know. Also, Counter Stallions, you got to do better, man. Toward the end, you can kind of tell, like, he was letting some stuff go.
was throwing him that money.
Yeah.
He's just being sarcastic. His lawyer was telling him, you don't got to say anything about this.
Right.
Was that you on the CMU sidelines? It don't look like me.
I don't recall.
The guy doesn't look anything like me. He was just joking
I
around.
have a thought.
Have you ever been arrested?
No.
I mean, what are the things your lawyer tells you? And I haven't either, but like I'm just being in news.
Yeah.
Don't say anything.
Don't say anything.
No.
Like just being in news. I talk to a lot of attorneys every day. We'll talk to Charlie Langton for an hour tomorrow over a segment we do on the verdict. He will tell you, as a defense attorney, you never say anything.
Exactly.
You're not taking the stand.
Right.
Do not take the stand if you are a defendant. Yeah. Do not take the stand. And this guy essentially said, I'm not taking the stand.
Yeah.
And any competent lawyer will tell you not to say anything. Yeah. So nobody should be shocked that Connor Stallions didn't admit to being on the sidelines, didn't say anything when called upon to the NCAA. I did not recall is almost the same thing as I wish to assert my Fifth Amendment privilege. Yep. This is not a court of law, so there is no Fifth Amendment privilege.
Yeah.
So I don't recall.
The whole NCAA interview was a joke too. The way they set it up and everything, it was like, come on, man.
But again, that's like the gist of it, right? I mean, you can blame Connor Stallions. Why don't you just admit? Why don't you just admit to being on the sidelines at Central Michigan? No competent attorney would tell you to tell just go ahead, go tell the NCAA exactly as it happened.
No, of course not.
Here's the whole.
I don't recall.
Here's the whole thing. Connor Stallions was excellent at what he did. He was a military kid. He was a great study. He's brilliant, almost Rain Man-like, like his dad said. Yeah. And he loved the University of Michigan. He loved Jim Harbaugh. He loved those players. He was going to be a coach. He was heading to be a coach. Mm-hmm. There's no question. But his expertise was in spy warfare. And he didn't break the rules.
He didn't.
He circumvented the rules, like he said.
Loophole.
And he said, I'll do it again. So, say what you want. If you really believe Michigan really improved their lot by a guy sitting in the stands from the crowd with an iPhone recording signals, if you really believe that is it, then I guess you think Michigan is guilty. We all know that everyone does it. And I know that's the saying. Everyone does it. If you ain't cheating, you're not trying.
Also,
he just did it better than everybody.
I also like the fact that just at the end of the interview, they asked the NCAA, where is you getting your information? Oh, we can't disclose that right now. It's great, man.
Go ahead, Brett.
This is how I feel about the whole thing. I said it yesterday, and I'll say it one last time. It is over. It is nothing even to discuss. At the end of the day, what they said at the end of the interview is exactly what it is. Yep. They obtained the information from Ohio State illegally through Ryan Day's brother, his securities firm. You cannot use that information, so it doesn't make sense. The game stretch that they went through, the last 7 games of the season, last season, it lets you know who that Michigan team was. Enough about that. The funny thing about the doc, though, and yes, they cheated. Like Connor Stallions cheated. It is what it is. Like, we got to stop saying, but did it help? Yes, it helped at a certain point. But when it really mattered, 7 games, they did it without, they didn't need it. So just stop talking about it, because, yes, they did.
You can't take it away from them kids.
The funniest thing about those untold stories, and you called it the other day when we were talking about Steve
they don't tell you much.
They're glazers.
Yeah.
They are glazing the stories. And for those of you out there, what the glaze is, you're putting it on thick. You're glazing this individual. You're stroking them a little bit. It's to help the people who tell it. The Johnny Manziel story, it didn't tell you anything. It made Johnny look like a saint. It made him like he was dealing with some tough stuff.
Swamp Kings.
The Swamp Kings?
Yeah,
oh, my God.
Ridiculous.
Like,
that
what?
Was bad.
The Swamp Kings, what was that? This isn't what really was going on in Florida outside of the workout stuff.
Right.
When they showed them working out. So whoever gets to the mic first, if this was a 30 for 30,
that's different.
It's very different. You can look at that and see the things, because they're going to give you legal information. They're going to take you down the road of the whole story. These untolds come out so fast. This story is still going on.
Yeah.
Like when you saw the last thing it said a verdict came down August 25th.
I know, it was crazy.
That was yesterday. These untolds they're fun more than.
You know what they are? They're like receiver and quarterback. That's what Netflix specializes in. ESPN, on the other hand, back in the day, in the good days at least, they were awesome on Sports Century.
Yep.
And then, of course, the 30 for 30s.
E62.
They tell the story.
Did you see what the head coach of East Tennessee State said about it?
I did.
What did he say?
This is what he said. Let me put it up. Trey Lamb is his name. He tweeted this out today. Just watched Connor Stallions' doc. My thoughts. 1, Michigan won 40 games in 3 years, a national championship, because they had elite players, recruited the best offensive linemen, had a top 5 quarterback, and the best defensive personnel. 2, if you don't hide and change your signals and or use tempo changes, that's on you.
Yep.
Both sides of the ball. 3, I've had multiple games where we've had every signal and got smoked. 4, I've had multiple games where we had 0 signals and smoked them. 5, Connor Stallions is not innocent. Going to scout in person and on the sidelines is low class in the business. I think Harbaugh knew he was stealing signs, but did not know the details of how. 6, sign stealing decides very little in results of the game.
Thank you. That's the big one.
Sign stealing decides very little in results of the game. This is a guy that says, I've had multiple games. We've had every signal and got smoked. This is not a Michigan State fan. This is not a Michigan fan. This is not an Ohio State fan or Penn State or anybody in the Big Ten. This is the head football coach in college football, and the defensive coordinator at Arkansas said the exact same thing. Like these are not partisans, for lack of a better way to say it.
Not at all.
These are people who have nothing to lose, nothing to gain. Just taking a look from a 10,000-foot space, a bird's eye view of this whole thing. And both of them have look. Come on.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? What are we doing here?
Thank you.
When this thing first came out, the players, whether they were current players, past players, players like myself that played the game, we all said the same thing. It doesn't matter what you have, it's what you line up. When you line up against that individual. Like, you know how many times teams knew what I was doing when I was at Michigan? Let's keep it a buck.
Yep.
Number one wide receiver in the country. You're getting week in and week out footage of what we're running, the plays we're running. Mike Hart, we're going Mike Hart right, Mike Hart left, Braylon down the middle.
Yep.
Braylon up the gut. You know what we're doing every game, but what happens? You got to put somebody in front of me and stop me. You got to put a defensive line in front of our offensive line and stop Mike Hart. You got to get to Chad Henne so he gets rattled as a young freshman quarterback. These are the things that happen in between the lines. You got to go out there and stop a guy. You know how many times they knew I was running a fade? But can't you stop me?
Can't.
Listen, as I told you, it did tell you some things. In the beginning of the Jim Harbaugh era, at the end of the Brady Hoke era, Michigan wasn't doing anything as far as scouting, looking for signs, and all the other schools were. Schools that were winning the national championships and winning their conference championships were doing that. So then all of a sudden, this young guy comes in, he talks to Chris Partridge, he's like, listen, you got a spot for me on this team? I could do something. Maybe I could try to decipher some signs for you. He's like, great, show up here. Let's go. The kid shows up, and he's just better than everyone else. Did he take it far? He took it far. But guess what? We have the Connor Stallions rule now. We get to talk into the helmet.
Finally.
I don't want to hear it anymore. Drop it. Michigan's the national champs. Let it go, folks. It's time for a new era. 12-team playoff starts. We start playing football tomorrow. I think Rutgers plays tomorrow night.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's nothing you can tell me about Michigan football. I love it. As we got some Michigan Wolverines coming in right now, some old school cats. What's up, players? I see you guys. At the end of the day, we won. Like, we won. I saw these guys. Forgot my train of thought. The only thing I don't like about this, like the one thing that I don't like Ryan, the one thing that I don't like Maz, I don't care about what they say. I don't care how they feel about the national championship. We won that thing. I don't care. I don't like the timing. And what I mean by the timing is Michigan changed 3 years ago. Now, this is the fourth year, but 3 years ago, Michigan changed. It wasn't because solely what Connor Stallions was doing on the sidelines, figuring things out and decoding signs. He switched coaches up. He switched his mentality up, switched some of the players that they were recruiting up. The player development got better. Ben Herbert, as a strength and conditioning coach, he became, in my opinion, the best strength and conditioning coach in the country because he was able to beat the Alabamas, beat the Washingtons, beat the Ohio States consistently. So the change within the program happened around the same time within the change of this. And so a lot of credit will try to be not given to what Harbaugh did, what the team did, what those players did. Because there were players that were there in 19 and 20 that were still on those teams in 21, 22, 23. So I just don't like that aspect of it because a lot of people deserve a lot of credit for turning the tides of University of Michigan. Jim Harbaugh, it doesn't matter what you have. If you're still employing Jim McElwain as your wide receivers coach who knows nothing about the wide receiver position, if you're still having, I can't even think of the offensive coordinator, Pep Hamilton, when you're still having guys like that as your offensive coordinators that don't know the game and can't simplify it for the kids that you need, it doesn't matter what you have. So you got to give those kids, you got to give that coach a lot of credit because they turned that tide whether people want to hear it or not.
Hey, 20 players from that Michigan team are playing in the NFL.
Yeah.
Good night. Good night.
You know, one of the things, too, that I think we did learn, this was something that was new, or at least something that I believed, but something that was confirmed by this documentary is this is something Connor Stallions took to Michigan.
Yeah.
This wasn't something Michigan put on Connor Stallions. Does that make sense? Yeah. Connor Stallions learned this skill at Navy.
At Navy, yeah.
He came and said, essentially to Chris Partridge, I have this particular set of skills, like Liam Neeson did in the movie Taken.
Yep.
And what did he say? We don't even have a guy doing that.
Right.
Sure. Why not?
Exactly. And I think that is one of the things that, for lack of a better way to say it, absolves Michigan here. Mm-hmm. Stallions took this to Michigan. Michigan did not put this on Stallions. They didn't say, Connor Stanley, this Navy guy, why don't you go try to decipher the other team's signs? They didn't do that to him.
Yeah.
He offered that information up.
Yeah.
So I think that, and also, and again, this isn't a court of law, but the NCAA cannot prove this. That's the one thing. There is no paper trail.
Yeah.
There is no paper. There's a couple of Venmos right out in plain sight, but to who? Yeah. To his friends? To randos out there? What does that mean? I just think I mean, I think if we all use common sense, but common sense is not a smoking gun.
Right.
You know what I mean? Common sense and putting two and two together isn't like the smoking gun. There is no proof that Michigan paid for any of these tickets. There is no proof that Michigan knew this was happening. You know, these text messages that Sharon Moore deleted with Connor Stallions, those have since been recovered, by the way.
Yes, sir. And
those will be put out there one day. And do you know what they will not include? Anything about sign stealing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Zero. And they have those text messages. That's why Sharon Moore is walking around now like a boss.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, put them out. You know what I mean? So I think these things all add up. And look, is it slimy? Sure. Did he go too far? Yes. I have never been one of those Michigan fans.
I don't think he did. I don't
He's-
think he went too far. I don't.
And
He bought his own ticket. He bought his own ticket. He's got his friends sitting in the stands. What the hell's that?
I agree with you, and that's fine. But let's just for craps and giggles, let's just say he went too far. Okay, let's just for craps and giggles, which I think he's just smarter than everybody.
Yeah.
By the way, my own personal opinion on that.
Isn't the first
he's
person that
intelligent.
achieved success at something new called crazy or different or eccentric? It's how long before this becomes the norm? This year?
It's not. No, it's done now because of the helmet communication.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He changed the rule.
100%.
He got the rule.
And
changed.
even he was
Sometimes you
surprised.
look at
There's no more sign stealing.
Maybe he can figure out how to break into that now.
Right. Which they will.
I guess
I'm all for it.
I guess what I'm trying to say is I've never been the Michigan fan that says
Leaders and best.
Yeah, we're above you. We're above you. We're so much more ethical than you, and this, that, and the other thing. Like, man, I just want to win.
Yeah.
And if Alabama, there's a scholarship requirement, limit. Alabama goes above that limit twofold, and then they get the kids in camp, and then they say, "Oh, this guy's better than him. We're going to take his scholarship away." They ruin these kids' lives essentially. Yank their scholarships.
When's Notre Dame going to take anything away and say, "Hey, you know what? I know you're an F student. Come on in, man. Don't worry about it."
Right.
They've been doing it. They've just been doing a better job of hiding it, man. At the end of the day, look, I make no bones about the institution why I went there. We are better than you. That's my opinion. That is exactly my opinion. I went to Michigan. That's why I feel amazing blue. I can name you a bunch of statistics and dumb stats that don't matter that suggest we are better than you. But what it is, at the end of the day, people have always hated Michigan. And I didn't understand this when I was younger. I didn't understand when I was in the league. But more and more you start to see people hate Michigan that have nothing to do with the state of Michigan, have nothing to do with the Big Ten. Hell, they ain't even on this side of the Mason-Dixon line. And hate Michigan. When I got into the league, Ryan, guys, I don't care what school they went to, Mississippi State, they could have went to CU Boulder, USC. They could have went to Western Kentucky for all I care. They always love when Michigan lost. Everybody always loved when Michigan lost, and you see it more and more and more. People hate Michigan, and I get it. I get it, but it's because of that hate. We're better than you, because the whole freaking country hates Michigan. except Michigan.
I got to give credit out to a couple of guys that we know. Dan Wetzel, who I love. Dan, great reporter for Yahoo, great author. Think he did a great job. I love his wit about it. Tony Paul, great job. Looks good. He broke the story. He followed Connor Stallions. We all know he leans towards Michigan State. That's okay. I don't mind. Tony, you look good. And Nicole Auerbach, I love you. I just
She's
love
like my favorite
Nicole
person in the Big
Auerbach.
Ten Network.
I just love you.
That's
all.
great. Absolutely. Can I just and we can put this to bed here.
Tony Paul is like an up north Paul Feinbaum.
That's a good comparison.
This is
He loves his Tigers, though. That's why I like Tony.
this one chat from Crazy Clown is so perfect.
What is it?
He says, if somebody shows me their cards during poker,
Right.
I look at them.
Yes.
Does that mean I cheated?
Right. Can I bring up an example, guys?
Nice job, clown.
That
Can
is
I-
perfect.
Nice job.
That is perfect.
Can I bring up an example real
Yes.
quick because
Can I take my phone out and take a
I'm a
picture? I'm
big
sorry,
fan.
remember?
I'm a big fan of the World Series of Poker. So, I study poker, I play poker, I love to watch it. Jonathan Tamayo is the 2024 World Series of Poker champion. Now, he figured out a loophole in the rules, and this is a huge story, and this coincides here with the Connor Stallions. The rules specifically state that you cannot consult or ask another person or a coach while you're playing in the tournament. So what did he do? His friends in the final table on national television, or on the big poker television
ESPN,
stage,
yeah.
he had a laptop, and in the middle of the hands would run over and check the laptop and search, what do I do in this situation?
Get outta here.
And he ended up winning the title. He's now the champion, and now the whole thing's blowing up. Did he cheat? Did he not cheat? He did this live in front of everybody.
That's wild.
Running to the stands, checking the computer, and then come back.
That's real cheating.
That's.
I mean, he exposed the loophole.
He exposed the loophole.
I mean, there are some loopholes.
Is that cheating?
Is that cheating?
I think what
Or
we
did he
get
do
caught up
better?
on is it cheating by rule or is it immoral? And I think that's where people get confused. Like, something that's immoral doesn't mean it's illegal.
That's facts.
And I think therein lies, and I hate that sounds like that. That sounds even worse. But I
It's
think
factual.
immoral and legal, sometimes people don't know how to defer the two. Both can be true. I mean, both can be opposite.
Listen to me, guys. I'll take this to my grave. I can't look at Jose Altuve the same. Here's a guy that you really want to root for.
Yeah, they
He's
had,
5'0", phenomenal baseball
had some
player.
vices,
but if
though.
I got in my head, I still see him running around third base,
Holding that jersey. Yep.
holding his jersey, and then cowardly running into the dugout, taking the crap off, putting the T-shirt on, and then coming out and talking to Ken Rosenthal, and then all of a sudden he couldn't speak English. Listen to me, man. That's cheating. That is absolute dirty dog cheating. What those Astros did was dirty dog cheating. This is
It's
nothing.
Not, yeah.
Nothing.
That is a perfect example of cheating. Perfect example of cheating. When you're wearing communications like that.
Yep. Banging on garbage cans is one thing. Wearing electronic devices is absolute cheating. In the freaking AL Championship Series to go to the World Series.
Wow. That is wild. Pete, that is a great question.
Thanks,
Not a
bud.
good question. That's a great question. And, are exposing tax laws, is that cheating tax code?
Right.
You're right.
Or is it immoral?
Immoral, yeah.
Is it, to use your words, is it immoral to expose or to find a loophole in the
Yeah.
tax code?
Right.
If it
Is it
then
cheating?
It's been cheating a long time.
That's what I'm saying. So I guess I would say no.
Right.
Because you have to apply that to every aspect of exposing a loophole. Are you cheating the government if you expose a tax loophole?
What if you just say the hell with it and don't pay your taxes?
Then you're going to jail.
Right. Then you like Wesley. Then you like
Then you're
Wesley.
going to jail. I think that is a fascinating discussion.
Cool.
It is.
Anyway, we'll leave that there. We're going to talk to. Do we have Dan? We have Dan Miller today, right?
3
Top of the
o'clock.
hour. Top of the
Yeah.
hour.
Oh,
Hour number
right.
2. So we'll talk to We'll talk some Lions, top of hour number 2. We'll talk some Michigan with intern Alex, our WSN Wolverine Insider. And coming up next, though, I do want to talk about something else that's fascinating. The Detroit Tigers are 12-3 over the last 15 games.
Yep,
that is the best record in baseball over the last couple of weeks. They are 5.5 games out of a wild card, and we talked about it yesterday. They got 2 more with the Angels beginning tonight. They're doing this with a starting pitcher and a half. Okay?
Yep.
I cannot wait to talk about these Detroit Tigers.
Neither can I. I have something to.
We'll do it next, but first a message from the Boys and Girls Club of Southeast Michigan.
I guess I should pay a little bit more attention to Pete. Join the best youth football league in Detroit, the Boys and Girls Club of Southeastern Michigan's 3C Sport League. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, they're putting the youth back in youth sports. Detroit, Belleville, Highland Park, and East Point from ages 5 to 14. That's right, get your kids up out of the house. But don't worry, if you register, all coaches are trained, certified, and they do undergo background checks. The reason why we have to do that, gotta protect the kids, and we promise you they will be in good hands. Equipment, meals, and transportation included, all for a chance to play at Ford Field, the home of the Kings of the North, the Detroit Lions. So do yourself a favor and sign up at bgcsm.org. While you're at it, sign up for Planet Fitness. Over 50 locations in metropolitan Detroit. It is simply the best gym around because they understand one thing: your fitness is essential. They have the quintessential clean gym. It's called Squeaky Clean Gym. And also, you can do a total body workout for 30 minutes right there in the middle. They make it easy for you. They have it set up. And oh, by the way, every membership does come with a trainer. So look, Planet Fitness is where it's at. There's no judgment. It's the place for you. And also, the colors are kind of cool.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and WoodwardSports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go!
Yo, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
So just to get the heated steering wheel, I also had to spring for the bigger rims.
Yeah, that's how they get you. Those upgrades will cost you an arm and a leg every time.
Hey, new car crew, how'd it go this weekend? I got a great deal on mine.
How?
I went to Randy Wise, not those other guys. They got me in a great new ride, and they didn't break my budget. Hey, could you pass me the sugar?
How?
Never mind.
He made the wise choice.
Yep.
Make the wise choice at RandyWiseChevy.com.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out PremierPetSupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody!
The countdown to kickoff is here. Your Detroit Lions are ready for another season of grit. Woodward Sports is your number one destination for all breaking news and Lions coverage. We are Detroit's number one sports network. We are Woodward Sports.
Hey guys, dreaming of a new home but feeling a financial pinch? Well, Mark White & Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. $5,000. That's a lot of money, guys. Call Mark White & Associates today, 248-290-8242. Visit them online at markwhitesells.com. Call Mark White & Associates today, 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
And don't forget, Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, sit back, relax. Let one of Lady Jane's talented stylists make you look and feel great. You could walk in anytime, 7 days a week. Lady Jane's. It's wicked awesome.
First and foremost, the national championship in 2023 is not even close to tainted. Not even close. It's not even close to an asterisk. Not even close. Number one, when this operation were still plausibly happening, they were blowing people out and there was little to no advantage needed nor gained. Number two, once this operation was brought to the forefront and then it was eliminated, they got nothing but better. The first week that Connor Stallions wasn't on the field, they beat Michigan State 49-0. 0. You think that they were stealing signs in the Penn State game? Ohio State in the playoff against Alabama? So no, this national championship is not tainted at all.
That was Joel Klatt. I just wanted to get that in there to wrap up and put a bow on the Michigan Connor Stallions talk. Yeah. For a couple of people looking for Lions conversation in the chat, we're going to do that in 30 minutes. Dan Miller is going to join us, voice of the Detroit Lions, Fox 2 sports director. So Lions talk coming up in 30 minutes with Dan Miller. In the meantime, we have got to talk about these Detroit Tigers. I don't know if anybody's paying attention, but if you're not, you might want to start. 29 games to go. The Detroit Tigers got in to Detroit the night before at 2:30 in the morning. They play a game with the LA Angels where they have a 3-hour rain delay.
That was crazy.
They do so again with no starting pitcher, and they win the game 6-2.
Carps and Green home run.
They played a game at 500 for the first time since June 5th.
Won.
That's June 5th, July 5th, August 5th, almost the month of September.
Yeah.
Nearly 3 months since they played a game at 500. They are now over 500, 67-66.
First time in 8 years.
They are 5.5 games out of first place, ladies and gentlemen.
They made up
with
a lot of
29 games to go out of the wild card.
Yeah.
So Minnesota is fading fast.
Yeah.
They have now just one team to catch before they get to Minnesota. You know, they were 9 games out with like 7 teams to catch if you look at the standings.
Yep.
They are only looking up at Boston. They play Boston this weekend at Comerica Park.
yeah.
Big city.
Guys, this is as fun a baseball as we've been watching for the better part of the last decade.
Yep.
I'm totally all in on these guys.
I will say it like this. I said it yesterday, and I stand by it. I'm excited for the Detroit Tigers. They cannot disappoint me this season because I don't believe they're going to make the playoffs, and they can't disappoint me because now the younger guys and the guys that they brought up and the guys that were expected to play well are starting to show you that there's something there, that there is a core here. So I'm excited for that. I'm not going to let myself get sucked in to believing that they're going to make the playoffs and then get let down. Remember Randy Quaid, Tom Masaway, in the second Major League? It's one of our favorite movies, Ryan. The second one. Remember when he finally gets off the bandwagon, he flips his head upside down and just keeps he's cheering for them to lose. Now, I'm not going that far and then try to bring it back in full circle, but I just don't want to get my hopes up. But I'm excited. That's why I like the non-disappointment angle versus getting my hopes up.
I wouldn't be disappointed. It's like getting an inside straight, or I mean, every single last thing needs to go perfect.
Yeah.
But the part of being excited is you do feel like they are playing for something. Every time they win a game, they're alive for the next day.
Yeah.
Every single time they win a game, they are alive for one more day.
So
that's the excitement part.
So you guys buy into the theory that this is the 2022 Detroit Lions?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Similarities.
Absolutely.
Similarities there?
It is, and again, the Lions had an opportunity to make the playoffs at 1 p.m. on the final Sunday of the regular season.
Yeah.
If you remember back to the 2022 Lions, it was a game that was played it was a 4 o'clock game between the Seattle Seahawks and I think the Rams. Yeah.
That game was so jank.
Yeah, that game.
So jank.
Again, think about this for a second, guys. The final Sunday of the regular season, it was a 4 o'clock game in the league that was going to determine whether the Lions were making the playoffs or not. And I could see it coming down to the final series of the year.
That game went to OT, by the way.
Where maybe you need the Twins to get swept or something like that, and you need to sweep.
Right.
But that's the fun part about where they are right now. It could happen.
And who do you play at the end of the year?
The White Sox.
The White Sox, who they just took 4 off of, and they are going to go for the record. They will be going for the record as worst team in the history of baseball on that last weekend of October. I will tell you this, man. This team, what did Lou Brown tell Charlie?
Every time we win, we peel a section.
Charlie, it's coming together. It's coming together, Charlie.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
I was hoping this was going to be that team. I mentioned it. I hope it is. I just don't want to get.
It's just fun right now.
No,
Can we say that?
Yeah.
See, that's the difference between like fans, though, too, and maybe a player such as yourself. Like the best part about being a fan is being excited and being disappointed.
Yeah.
Like I think it's boring to be a fan. Like my own personal opinion, I think it's boring to be a methodical fan. Like, does that make sense to you? I'm going to take a wait and see approach. Like those highs and lows for being a fan, that's what it's all about for me anyway.
Anytime I see a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I'm a Steelers fan. I'm like, it's easy to root for the freaking Steelers. You never had a losing record.
All right.
All right, since 1970 freaking 2, you have not had a losing record.
Right.
Maybe a couple, but none from Mike Tomlin. We're Detroit sports.
Yeah.
The Tigers have won 2 World Series since World War II.
Actually, on Saturday, the 40th anniversary of the 1984 team
How many more times
is going to be celebrated.
I like the 84 team. I'm sick of talking about the 84 team.
Yeah.
I'm sick of talking about them. It's time to move on. Let's make some magic here. This team, like I was talking to a few of my friends, and I tell them, I love this team. And they're like, I do too. And then they look at me and they're like, why do we love this team?
Because they won't
Because
die.
we're starving. We're starving for baseball. We haven't talked baseball in 10 freaking years. 10 years. When we talk about it, or if you're on the radio and you hear the guys talking about the Tigers, you guys do what?
Turn it off.
Change the freaking channel.
Right.
And I hope you don't change the channel right now. I hope you stay on us. We don't do it the whole damn day, but you got to take the hat off to what A.J. Hinch and these guys are doing at Comerica Park. Comerica Park is alive and well. Tiger fans, they are phenomenal fans. And I'm a Yankee, all right? Listen, I believe this Tiger team is better than that Yankee team that has spent all that money. It's easier to root for this team than for me to root for that team. I know the Yankees are not winning the World Series this year. That's a fact. But if I can get this Tiger team into the last weekend of the year, going for a playoff spot, that makes my year. Makes my year.
Man, as I was with you with the love and the passion, and I dove in. You know, I'm your biggest fan of you being a fan of sport. I always tell you that. You had me until you said this team was better than that Yankees team.
I didn't say better. I said easier to root for.
Okay, for 2 seconds. So come
Yankees aren't winning the World Series.
This is true.
Neither are the Tigers.
But they're a better team than the
Tigers. But they're better to root for.
Okay. I'm on the same.
And they beat the Yankees.
They did. What's their record?
And they beat the Dodgers.
They did beat the Dodgers. You ain't lying. Like 2 out of 3.
You know,
that's how they're sitting 12 and 13, 12 out of 15.
Again, I hope for everybody's sake that they continue to do this, and I really hope they take care of their business against the LA Angels, because I think this series against Boston could be the biggest series played at Comerica Park in 10 years. And you mentioned how we are all sick of talking about the 84 Tigers. And listen, guys like me, guys like Maz, I'm sure you, Bray, you're a little bit younger, but guys that lived that 84 team a little bit, and shortly thereafter, like part of my childhood was that 84 team. Even in 85, 86, 87, 88, a lot of those guys were still part of that team. You know, Kirk Gibson, we love. Dave Rosemond, we love. Milt Wilcox, we love. Dan Petrie, we absolutely love. Alan Trammell, Chet Lemon, Lou Whitaker. Some of these names of these, Dave Bergman, who was my Little League, not my Little League, my travel team coach. And may he rest in peace, Dave
Rod
Bergman.
Allen.
Rod Allen, actually, who just liked one of my tweets about Dan Petrie and the Tigers. We are so sick about talking about 84. Think about this for a second. If you listen to those 84 guys talk about that World Series championship in 84, one of the things that they say when they came up in 77, 78, 79 is they were so sick of talking about the 1968 Detroit Tigers.
Yeah.
Do some math with me. 1968 to 1984 is how long? 18 years. Okay? 18 years. 1984.
14 years. 16 years.
16 years. 16 years. You're right. You're right. Right. Thank you. You're right. 16 years.
Saying what we're math.
So,
right. Saying what we're math.
But think of this. Those 84 guys were sick of the 68 team.
Mm-hmm.
68 to 84, 16 years. 1984 to 2024, 40 years.
Yep.
Think about that. Yep. We're not sick of this team. I mean, it's like, guys, come on. It's wild out
They had
there.
2 shots at it, though.
Yeah, 2 World Series
They had 2
appearances.
shots at it
2
since
sweeps.
84.
Right.
2 shots at it.
2 sweeps.
Should have been a lot more than that, even with that team and with those pitching, with those gems that they had on that team. But they fell short. And here we are, 10 years later, 10 years after getting eliminated by the Orioles, getting swept out of the playoffs, and then having the team basically dismantled and tell Al Avila, look, you can't spend any money, blah, blah, blah. And they didn't draft very well. Hopefully Scott Harris and his crew have drafted a little bit better. I read about Max Clark all the time now. And, it's easy because it's social media. You hear about it all. The kid is like lighting it up in high A ball. And what's the next step? You get up there to double A. Yeah. And that's where really you cut your teeth, right? Double A is where you can really know that you're going to be a pro going forward. To have Torque up here with the team again, I'm very happy about it. He dropped the foul ball last night. It was a tough catch.
Not the best
I'm glad
night.
they got him out of it. He's going to start hitting. I keep my fingers crossed. But
where's Job?
It's time, man.
Where's Job?
He should have been up.
Man?
Yeah.
Where's Job and Young?
Young is here, but Job should have
They're
been
taking it easy.
Now, I hate to do this to everybody, but just taking a look at the Minnesota Twins for a second, the team that's got that last wild card spot. Mm-hmm. They have lost 7 of 9.
Yeah.
They play Atlanta today. They've lost 2 in a row to Atlanta.
Okay.
Chris Sale on the mound for the Atlanta Braves tonight.
Make it 3 in a row.
Yes.
You could essentially be
pitcher in baseball
4.5 games out of a wild card berth after the Twins play Chris Sale tonight.
That's crazy.
4.5 potentially. Then they play Toronto. Then a road stand against at Tampa and at Kansas City. They've got Cleveland. They've got at Boston. They've got Baltimore left.
Wow,
That's a tough schedule.
That's
tough.
Guys, I just want to put it out there, speak it into the atmosphere. Maz, are you going to the park tonight?
I'm going to be there.
How are they doing this with no starting pitching?
The bullpen stepped up.
The bullpen is AJ Hinch he's like a mastermind. He's like a puppet master. He's just pushing the right buttons, like Kevin Cash did back in the day with Tampa Bay. That's what it is. You don't like these starters. You don't like these whatever you want to call them. Mm-hmm. Right now, they have no choice but to do that. Can you imagine if they had Jack Flaherty still on this team?
I know.
But then you wouldn't have had Sweeney.
Could you have gotten through though
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
could you have still been in this spot if you had Jack Flaherty
Yeah.
instead of Sweeney? I think you could have.
could have.
Yeah.
I think you probably could have survived.
Neil Rule brought up the point on Big D today, and I wanted to
Shut
ask
up.
you guys, if they were to finish and let's say they get the job done, they get in the wild card position, should AJ Hinch be up for consideration for manager of the year?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell to the yeah.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Absolutely.
See what
There's
he's
no
put
doubt
in.
about it. I mean,
Dealing with Javi
tell you.
Baez, two of your young core guys go down to AAA, get caught back
Yep.
up,
And
and all the injuries.
Astros manager's going to be up there as well.
and
He's
so is Kansas
taking
City.
that. Oh, yeah.
Kansas City's in first place right now in the
Yep.
division. I mean, they
spent money.
They did.
They were a bad team who had a superstar in Bobby Witt
Bobby
Jr.
Witt Jr., yeah.
They had a couple of good starters in Reagans and Singer, and then they spent money.
Right.
They brought guys in. Look, if you spend money, there's a chance that you might be able to compete. If the Tigers had spent some money, we said it a million times, just a J.D. Martinez. Who else did you say, Ryan?
Matt Chapman.
Matt
Everybody said
Chapman.
it.
Just one of those guys. Don't you think you'd win at least 5 more games?
That could have been the decision that
Yeah.
ultimately keeps them out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, ultimately,
Facts.
that decision not to acquire one of those guys in free agency. But Tigers and Angels tonight, looking forward to it, and we'll see what happens. Cleveland guys faltering as well. I know Cleveland is, still they've got plenty of space there in the division, in the wild card, I should say. But Cleveland is not playing good baseball right now at all. But can anybody catch them? It feels a little insurmountable.
Yeah.
Ramirez playing good.
Yeah,
man.
right. But
He's probably one of the most slept-on players in baseball.
Absolutely.
Man. Every year he shows up.
Guys, Lions Talk coming up 15 minutes from now with Dan Miller. I do want to talk about the news of the day in the NFL today. Mike Tomlin has named Russell Wilson the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers today. I think many people expected that when he only played one series against the Lions. It was fine. He didn't have a great preseason, the exhibition season, but this seems like the appropriate call. It's probably much easier to go to Fields from Wilson than to Wilson from Fields.
I think you'll see Fields still. Wilson might start, but I do think you'll see Fields playing some snaps. I do. I think they'll use them both.
Yeah. Does he have anything left in the tank, Russell Wilson? Is this his last opportunity to probably be a starting quarterback in the NFL?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. This will be his last
George
opportunity.
Pickens is praying for it, right?
He's got some good. He's got some weapons. He got some guys that can make some plays. You got a running game. The offensive line should be reinvigorated because they're a little more depth this season. Russell is a guy. This is year 12. This is year 13 because he came in 12, so this would be 13. This is year 13 for him. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. Even once he would no longer have the Legion of Boom, he still was able to cook for a little while. So this is a guy that knows how to play his position. This is a guy that knows how to play his position. This is a guy that's on his last leg. You saw what he did in Denver, but you saw what he was capable of in Denver too. For him, they just got to slow the game down. Russell has to realize who he is and who he isn't. Russell, you're not the guy that won the Super Bowl. You're a guy that was on a team. As a team, you guys won a Super Bowl. So take the game slow. And like you said, I like him to be the starter. I think he gives you more of a stable presence. Justin Fields still trying to find himself. But Justin Fields himself too, man. He's like Weapon X. Remember when the Pittsburgh Steelers got Cordell Stewart?
Oh, yeah, Slash.
Weapon X, whatever you wanted to call him. I think you'll see a little bit of that. Justin Fields has a lot in that tank, and I think you get him comfortable with the game, get him comfortable in the position. But I like it. It's easier to come to Fields from Russell Wilson. Get on them Fields first, start yourself a team behind, and then Russell may detach from the game.
They signed Russ first, right? And then they brought Fields in. So, they can help each other here through the season. Neither one of them has shown that they can do anything in this preseason. So we'll see how the Steelers do. I do think they're improved. That's a great division, though. But
Offense
they are improved.
look better than they've looked in years.
Better than Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
Have not had a losing season since 2003. Is that correct?
I was in college.
Yeah.
2003.
That's when Tomlin got
was
there,
the
right?
last time Bill
Yeah,
Cowher.
05.
Yeah,
Yep.
Bill Cowher
06.
got there in
06.
07. Excuse me. Tomlin took over in 2007. Cowher was the coach in 2003. 6-10, 21 years ago, was their last losing season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Until now. I think they're going to have a losing season this year.
Really?
I do. They simply do not have the quarterback or the personnel to keep up in the AFC.
They're the worst in the AFC
And just
South.
taking a look,
North.
And the division is tough.
Taking a look at their schedule, just I'm going to go to the bottom of the schedule, okay? The end of the season.
Okay.
Play the Bengals.
Okay.
The Chiefs. At the Ravens. At the Eagles.
Sheesh.
The Browns. At the Bengals. At the Browns. The Ravens.
That's
wow.
tough.
All their division games are at the end of the year?
That's
all
tough.
at the end of the year, with the exception of the Chiefs and the Eagles.
They better got to a good start.
Well, okay, you ready for the start?
Yeah.
At Falcons.
Okay.
Sheesh.
They could win that.
Could. They
Falcons are
could.
a
They
good
could
team
win
now.
that.
Yeah, they could.
At the Broncos, which are going to be no pushover this
They
year,
could
by
win
the
that.
way.
Yeah.
Then they play the Chargers.
Could win that.
At the Colts.
Can win that.
Yeah.
Win that.
I mean, they could win all of these
The
games.
beginning
What
of
I'm
the
saying
season
is,
are
like,
tough games.
there's no Carolina Panthers
Yeah,
on this,
they are
on
tough
this
games.
schedule. The Cowboys at the Raiders, to
That's a
me,
gimme.
is at the Raiders and against the Giants are the only two, what I would say, gimmies on the schedule.
Yeah.
Everything else, they play the Jets.
Yeah.
it's tough.
You know, I mean, sure they could win these games, but I'm just saying I got two gimmies in there.
Yeah.
That's home against the Giants and at the Raiders. And I don't know if a road game is a gimme anywhere.
Only thing about that schedule is for them every season. Every year they got to play in that AFC North, and it starts with playing the Ravens twice. It starts with playing the Bengals twice. You got to start with those 4 games every single year. And if the Browns are going to be good, last year, Joe Flacco had the Browns good. So you start every year in that division. You got 6 games that are going to be super tough. So Mike Tomlin, he finds a way, man. He gets these guys going. I think you'll get some healthier guys this year. Big Hayward wasn't healthy last year. Cam comes back healthy this year. Now he can help out TJ Watt. You look at Minka Fitzpatrick. That defense is still there. And I think that's been the quintessential identity of the Steelers all these years is defense, is defensive play. That's what they got to get back to. If they get back to some defensive play, they can easily run the game. That's who the Steelers are. The Steelers will pound you on defense and then run ground and pound on offense. They've always had good running backs, always had pretty good offensive lines with the Pouncey twins recently. So they just got to get back to that and let Mike Tomlin do what he does. Somehow they find a way.
With no offense.
Somehow they find a way, man.
One of the reasons I'm saying that is because I'm actually rooting against Pittsburgh this year because they're boring. They're a boring team.
They put me to sleep.
Anytime I see Pittsburgh at a nationally televised game, I'm
it's
like,
a turn off for me.
When did they get there?
I'm with you.
Oh,
they don't do it for me. I don't enjoy
They're
watching
just
them.
boring football.
Were they always boring, or did it? Or
No,
at some point?
Not during Big Ben years.
The talent deficit is just there now. I don't want to see Mason Rudolph lead.
He's not there anymore.
Or I know, but I'm just saying over the years,
Or Kenny
they
Pickett.
the
they
last
play
5
these
years.
20 to 16 games with this great
Right.
defense
Yeah.
and
No offense to show.
no quarterback whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Russell Wilson sucks. He's terrible.
Yeah.
And the fact that Justin Fields can't beat Russell Wilson out means that Justin Fields sucks too.
He did go for a 6th round draft pick. Or was it a 7th?
So the talent deficit in that division, when you talk about Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson, I'm sorry.
Joe
I think
Burrow.
Deshaun Watson is going to have a huge year this year. I
keep saying that.
I do.
You gonna see.
And Joe Burrow. Think about the talent gap at quarterback in that division alone.
The problem is you need a shakeup. Like you're absolutely correct. So I'll start there. You're correct. But what that means is it's the older organizations, older run. You look at the organization that had a problem adjusting. It's the older ones. You look at the Bears, The Bears are one of the 5 last families. I think Martha's still alive. The lady from
Miss
the Steelers,
McCaskey.
Miss McCaskey from the Bears,
The
and then
Rooneys.
the Rooneys. I'm naming all institutions or organizations we're talking about. The
fact.
Steelers can't evolve because they won't hire the people in the scouting departments and they won't change the game. We had to have an individual change her last name. And Martha
Sheila,
Ford Ham.
yeah.
No longer Ford. Martha Ham. So
Sheila,
Sheila, excuse me. That's it. You got the older organizations. It's the Steelers. It took the Bears forever. This is the first year that we see true change in the Chicago Bears. Am I lying, man?
No, I got something for the Bears.
Steelers are like the last ones holding on to the past.
I think the Steelers' problem, and that could be part of it.
Yeah.
I think the Steelers' problem is quite simple. They are the Detroit Red Wings. When the Detroit Red Wings made the playoffs for 25 straight years, or whatever that number was, they never had a high draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers have not had a blue chip high draft pick.
That's true.
In a long time.
Or tried to move
since
up.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
That's the last time they had a blue chip high round draft pick. They hit on TJ Watt. And I'm not talking about guys they hit on.
Right.
I'm just talking about having a top 5 pick, being so bad that you get that number 1 overall, that number 5 overall, that number 8 overall. They just are they are just good enough to be bad.
Perfect.
I agree with you, but they're still an older franchise that doesn't know how to adapt. Look, you've been bad now for 5 years. This isn't like this is your 1 year 2 that we're talking about. This is year 5. This is the NFL. You can get good fast. We saw that with Brad Holmes. The problem is they're an older run front organization. You know you're going to have pick 15 or 16 or 17 or 14 every year. What do you package that with? What do you bring into the NFL? You said, no, this is the year we have to get that. You got to change how you think. The older organizations, sometimes it takes them the longest to change. The Bears have changed this year in the draft and the offseason, maybe starting last year with the move they made for Montez Sweat. The Lions have changed over the past 3 years or so. Change takes a long time, and I think that's what we're seeing with the Steelers because package a deal. You know you need a quarterback.
Right, move up.
Every year.
Do something.
You knew the Kenny Pickett year you needed a quarterback.
Right.
But you waited, and then you pulled the trigger on him and picked 28 when you didn't want him.
And it's harder for the older run teams that have had success doing it the way they've done it. I mean, they've always made their calling card on defense. That's how they've won. So, of course, the Roonies are stagnant in trying to get the proper offense to complement that defense.
Sometimes until your pocketbook goes in the south direction is when you figure something out. Right now, the Steelers, they're not hurting.
Mm-hmm.
They're still selling millions and millions and hundred millions of revenue every year, so they're not hurting. They suck as it relates to watching them as a product, but they're not hurting for money. Once you start to see that revenue change, once you start to look and see, well, we had losses this year, then I bet you start putting some money in that draft.
Amen to that. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Dan Miller going to join us. We'll talk some Detroit Lions, latest news from them, who they're keeping, who's on that 53-man roster. We'll talk practice squad, who they lost on waivers. We've got all that and so much more coming up. But first, a message from Dr. Pierce.
All right, Doc. We'll see him tomorrow, of course. Dr. Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join him every Tuesday on Big D Energy. He joins us on Thursdays. Trust a guide at DMAC and Braylon Trust. Dr. Jeff Pierce here to keep you in the game and feeling and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com and call them 248-426-9944. And head on over to Premier Pet Supply, PremierPetSupply.com. Family owned and operated for over 30 years, 13 Metro Detroit locations, over 60 brands of food at the lowest prices available, curbside delivery, and they've got a nutritionist on call for any questions. Give them a call right now. It's PremierPetSupply.com.
The countdown to kickoff is here. Your Detroit Lions
Uncle Larry.
for another season of grit. Woodward Sports is your number one destination for all breaking news and Lions coverage. We are Detroit's number one sports network. We are Woodward Sports.
So just to get the heated steering wheel, I also had the spring for the bigger rims.
Yeah, that's how they get you. Those upgrades are costing an arm and a leg every time.
Hey, new car crew, how'd it go this weekend? I got a great deal.
Related to Rashad.
Yeah.
Rashad's uncle.
Okay.
I went to Randy Wise, not those other guys. They got me in a great new ride. They didn't break my budget.
Last year or 2 years ago.
Could you pass me the
Awesome,
sugar?
guys. Welcome in.
Hey, you guys are doing it.
Never mind. He made the wise.
Make the wise choice at RandyWiseChevy.com.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Oh, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage.
Hey, guys, hot mic.
Man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has
Hot
workouts
mic.
you can do at home?
Cheapest therapy I can
Thanks,
find
guys.
is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists. Enjoy a precision haircut, hot lather neck shave, scalp and neck massage, and a hot towel treatment to top it off. Enter for your chance to win the $50,000 Perfect Bracket Challenge. With more than 25 Metro Detroit locations, there's always a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's Haircut for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
Always on time, and that's what Soroki's is. The Nashville Hot is back and ready. You got to get the pizza. Let's just keep it with the pizza right now. The same chicken tender pizzas you can get those on that Nashville Hot pizza. It is fire, and I literally mean fire. The chicken tender sandwich as well as the fries. But look, if that's too hot for you, then you got to go with the crispy chicken. That's what they're known for. Or their regular pizzas, which are amazing as well. And as Maz likes to say, the fountain drinks, a.k.a. hops.
The soda.
Soda's good as well, man. That's for all my down south people with the soda, or Chicago, as they say. But if that's not your speed either, you have the fresh sides, fresh salads. Soroki's, they have it all, man. They're popping up all over metropolitan Detroit, so you need to pull up on one. And don't forget the honey biscuits, Soroki's.
Maz, sorry. Let me tell you about Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. That's exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC, located in Ferndale on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. If you're looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac, Les Stanford in Dearborn, where they have been on Michigan Avenue for over 55 years. You can find the brand you want under one umbrella, LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com.
Together, let's drive.
A couple of people in the chat when we had some hot mics in studio pointing out Maz's Ryan Ermanni. Maz gets a kick out of it when people want to take a picture with me. Because,
They love you.
Because
You
of that,
good with the 60 plus crowd.
I'm very big with the 60 plus crowd.
They love you.
KG. Absolutely. Hey, big news in the NFL. You've seen the latest acquisition of the Los Angeles Chargers, correct?
No.
Hassan Haskins has been.
Hassan Haskins. What year did he play?
He's the 21. He was
the J.K. Dobbins back together.
That's right. He was the running back for Michigan in 21 when they beat Ohio State in the snow.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, so Harbaugh.
5 touchdowns.
Yeah, I was at that game. One of the greatest sports
Was it
moments of
4?
my life to be at Michigan Stadium on that day.
4 touchdowns or 5?
I think he had 5 touchdowns in that game. Absolutely.
That was
Hassan
nuts.
Haskins and Jim Harbaugh back together.
So both L.A. Got Blake Corum right next to him.
That's right.
Blake
No
Corum for the
doubt.
Rams and Haskins for the Chargers.
Maybe they could be roommates.
They could.
Hey, let's talk about our Detroit football team. Those Detroit Lions. Let's bring in the voice of the Detroit Lions, the great Dan Miller. How you doing, Dan?
What's up, boys? How you doing?
Doing great. Before I talk Lions, can I just get a quick thought on what the Tigers are doing? Over 500. How about it, huh?
Yeah, no, it's great, and to do it with kind of a piecemeal pitching staff that they've had to put together is really, I think, the impressive part about it. You know, for me, Ryan, what I'm looking for is how many of these young guys are going to turn into everyday pieces? Because I think if you look at the best teams in Major League Baseball, man, they got like 5 or 6 guys that can rake. So you're looking at how many of these guys that they're putting in the lineup now can be everyday players that you can go into the offseason and say, all right, we got him penciled in here, where's a spot that we might have to fill in? But for me, that's the biggest thing is they're getting great experience for these young players, and they're winning while they get experience, which isn't always easy to do. I didn't see this surge coming, but it's a lot of fun to watch it develop.
Hey, Dan, before we get to Maz's players that we should bring in from other teams that were cut.
Right, no, that's coming.
Long laundry list.
No, that's coming.
I just want to say,
Zach Wilson.
right, you know it's coming. You know it's coming. I just got to say, I ran into a big guy, Big Loam on Monday at Mark Wahlberg's outing, man. Like, it's got to be a joy because we know how good we feel about you, and we talk about how great you are as a guy. But it's got to be a joy working with Lomas Brown, man. I've known him since '89, man, and he's just an amazing dude. Every time you see him, he has a big smile on his face. What's going on, Big Bray? It was good to see him, though, man. Just a hell of a guy, man, that deserves everything coming his way, man.
Yeah, no, it's been good to get to know him. I used to think he was a jerk.
Sometimes you gotta get to know somebody.
He's literally like the nicest guy you could ever meet. Everybody loves Lomas, and what I say about Lomas is every conversation he has, he leaves the person that he was talking to feeling better than when they began that conversation.
Factual.
So he's he's a joy to work. I've been so lucky to work with Brandy for all those years, and now to work with Lomas and TJ. I mean, I'm working with guys that I want to hang out with anyway. Some of the best times we have are going out to dinner on Saturday night and just laughing and joking and having a good time. And then we get to go to work and do something we're all passionate about on Sunday. So I'm with you, man. He's a gem. I mean, not only was he a phenomenal, I think, Hall of Fame worthy player,
Agreed.
But he's that kind of person as well.
Go ahead, Maz.
Right. Low is my man. That's all I got to say. Hey, I'm glad DPJ's back. He's going to the practice
His
squad.
offensive line.
Oh, come on, baby.
Hey, Dan, is this year 20 for you?
Year 20.
Wow. If they'd have told you that 20 years ago, how does that feel for you? 20 years.
He's more popular now than ever.
Wow.
100%.
No, it's look, Ryan, you know how this is. I mean, in our business, you don't think 3 years in advance, much less 20 years in advance. So, look, I'm truly blessed that I'm doing what 8, 9, 10-year-old me wanted to do. I didn't know it would be in Detroit, but I knew I wanted to be doing this. And I'm now blessed to be in a city that I've been able to call home for 27 years, which in this business is pretty crazy. I'm blessed that I can say I've been sitting in the same booth working for an organization that has treated me and my family unbelievably well for 20 years. So I couldn't ask for more than I have because my dreams have been realized, and it's a pretty amazing thing. Because you start off in this business just wanting somebody to want you around, and most of the time they don't. And then to be made to feel like you're wanted for a long time here at Fox 2 and with the Lions as well, I am beyond blessed.
And to have the best football team probably that you've called as well in year 20. I mean, when you look at this team, Dan, 53 men, top to bottom, and even 67 or 69 or whatever the practice squad is, this is as deep a team as we've seen in the last 2+ decades.
Yeah, it is, and it's a team that on paper looks like they're better than they were a year ago. But what I keep coming back to, and you know, I know Braylon can relate to this, is you got to go do it. And it's, to me, it's almost a little bit daunting that you start all over, you're at ground zero, and all the good things you did last year, now you have to go out and do again. But you know what? That's what the great teams do. That's what Kansas City does. You know, they get out there and they find a way to get it done again. That's what the teams that are good year after year after year find a way to do to build that consistency. And I know that's what Dan Campbell is trying to do now. But look, there's no excuses. I mean, we don't know what's going to unfold with injuries or anything like that. But this is a really good football team on paper and based on what we saw last year. And now it's about going out there and delivering weekly and making the plays that you made last year and doing the things late in games that this league requires you to do to win. And I'm excited to see where they go. But I love the moves that they've made. I love the places that they've gotten stronger. Now we have to go out and see it unfold before us.
I don't know if this is a question or a statement, Dan, so bear with me as I say it or ask it. And, you know, I like how you say on paper. I think the Lions have done a great job over the past 2 years of getting better and better in the offseason through the draft. And I think they're a better team each year. You know, you look at 2022, how they finished last year. They almost made the playoffs in 2022. What did they do the next year? They get all the way to the NFC Championship. If they're as good on paper as we think, the DJ Reader move, the Davenport move, I'm going to go all in and say I believe with who they are, what they built, the identity, having those same coaches. They got a chance to win it all, man. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's a question or a statement.
No, I agree with you. I mean, look, when you go to the NFC Championship game, and then to your point, you bring in a DJ Reader, you bring in a Davenport, you rework your secondary, you have a proven cornerback in Carlton Davis, you draft Terry and Arnold, who's highly regarded, you bring in Ennis Rakestraw, you bring in Amik Robertson, you're moving Branch back to safety, where I think they're thrilled about what he can possibly do back there. Kirby Joseph comes back. I just think that defense is, and that's basically, look, the offense looks a lot the same to me. The one guy offensively that can add rocket fuel to this thing is if J-Mo takes off and can be the guy that we believe he has the talent to be, oh my gosh, then you're talking about a whole different look on offense that this team could have. But defensively, look, they were 27th in the league last year, second in the league against the run. That tells you were really bad against the pass. And if you go back, and we've talked about this before, and you look at where they were in the last quarter of the season and into the playoffs, guys consistently were getting 150, 180, 200 yards against them receiving.
Yeah.
It is hard to win like that. They needed to shore that thing up. And on paper, it looks like they've done a good job of that. But you have to put it that way until they actually go out there and do it.
Dan, real quick follow-up. 18 weeks there are in the season before you get to the big dance, and that's January in the playoffs. What can happen in week one against these Rams to kind of give you pause, not scare you because it is way too early, but what can happen in game one against these Rams who they want their revenge for last year? What can give you pause going into week two or going into that following week?
I think exactly. Look, we know who's coming in here a quarterback for them. We know how good that guy is. We know how good that Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are. We know what they can do through the passing game. So I think right off the bat, you're going to get a really good test of what you're capable of doing on defense. And let me say this. I know that there is some concern in Allen Park about the fact that this defensive backfield, because of injuries, has not been able to play together much during the preseason.
Yep.
So you're going to have guys out there that are getting real live reps basically for the first time together because Arnold's been out a little bit, Robertson has been out a little bit, Davis has been out a little bit, Rakestraw's been out a little bit, Branch has been out a little bit. All these guys have missed time during camp. So I don't know that the cohesion is necessarily there at this point.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, against a guy that can sling it, you're going to be tested right away. So I think that's what I'm looking at, Braylon. Look, I believe they're going to go out there and play well offensively. If they're good against the run, or taking care of the football, they're going to be fine. But I want to see how they play against Stafford because we know what they're capable of doing if your defense isn't ready to go.
Hey, Dan, are you comfortable with Hendon Hooker as quarterback two?
As comfortable as I would be, and something just popped up on my screen. As long as I look fine, guys, we're good.
Looking good.
Look, I did not have a high degree of confidence, and it looks like they just re-signed Fromm. So unless they sign Sudfeld too, it looks like Fromm might be their number 3 guy. Look, Sudfeld's been in the league since I think 2017, something like that.
Yeah.
He's played in 6 games. So I don't know that I necessarily would have felt great about him. Look, Hooker is raw and made mistakes during the preseason, but I do see the talent there. Do I feel as good about them going in a backup situation as I would have with Teddy Bridgewater? No, because Teddy Bridgewater's got tons of experience and skins on the wall and the ability to understand what it is to play against an NFL defense. So, look, obviously it has to give you some concern if your backup quarterback is somebody that has never played in a regular season NFL game and you consider yourself a Super Bowl contender. That said, I do see the talent there. I think there were some people that were a little bit overly negative about him. I see some things that they saw when they drafted him, but I also see a guy who looks like he didn't play for 21 months after hurting his knee and is just getting back to game experience. Long way of saying, Maz, there's veterans in this league that you'd feel better if they were sitting in there behind Jared Goff. I think long-term and potentially given some experience, I still think Hendon Hooker can be a nice quarterback in this league.
Me too. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. And we all talk about the wide receivers all this time, and we brought up Josh Reynolds yesterday again. In a perfect world, if you go back a few months, would you have felt better had he been here instead of playing around with DPJ, bringing in the kid from Denver, Patrick, Isaiah Williams, and so forth? Are you okay with the wide receivers as they sit?
Well, I'd like to see if Patrick is healthy and is ready to
Yeah.
go. If he's healthy and ready to go, I think you feel pretty good about it because he's a big guy, big target, hasn't played in 2 years. That's the problem. You got to see where he's at physically. Apparently, from what he's shown in Denver so far in this preseason, he's been good. And in training camp, he's been good. Look, in a perfect world, do you take some of the unknown out of it? If you have Josh Reynolds back out there, yeah, you do. But you can probably say that about a lot of decisions that teams make because they do have to make decisions based on money and allocation as to whether or not they think that a guy is worth it and whether or not they think that a guy fits into their long-term plans. They got a lot of contracts that they have to deal out. And the difference of $5 or $6 million a year probably does make a difference to a team that's looking to re-sign Aleem McNeil and is ultimately going to have to re-sign Hutch and ultimately going to have to, dole out contracts to guys based on performance and already has given out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Let's give Brad Holmes credit.
Oh, yeah.
They've not run into a cap wall so far. And most of his decisions have been really good decisions. So it's an easy answer to say, would you feel better if Josh Reynolds were here right now? The answer is yes. But it's a much more difficult thing to execute when you're trying to put a money figure next to it, and
Sure.
Brad Holmes had to make those decisions.
Hey, Dan, and definitely wanted to ask you about DJ Reader. He was just activated off of the PUP list, and I know the rumors have been, maybe we'll see him in week 2, but if we can get him for week 1, that would be absolutely huge. Is there any chance that happens?
I've not been told that there is no chance, but the only thing that I would say is you're talking about a dude that has had no physical contact so far in camp. He's just getting ready to go here, so you're going to have about a week and a half, 2 weeks. This isn't a big practice week for them either. So how much work is he going to get in before he's ready to go against the Rams? And they're going to think long-term with him, not short-term. I'm sure they would love to have him, but they're going to do things the right way and make sure he's ready to go because that's a big-time impact player for them if they can keep him on the field. So I wouldn't say no chance because I haven't been told that, but certainly the indications have been that there's a much better chance that he's ready to go in week 2.
Dan, I wanted to ask you about these rookies last year that are going into their second year. I mean, Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, Brian Branch. I mean, these guys jumped on the scene last year and played incredible football, record-breaking football in Sam Laporta's case. What can we expect from those guys taking the leap in year 2 this year?
Well, I asked Laporta about that because somebody had asked me the day or two before I sat down to do an interview with him, where does he get better? And I was like, man, I don't know. But look, he's obviously really good, and the things that he talked about were, recognition, blocking, all the little things that tight ends do. And he said, I had a couple drops in there too. I want to clean those up. So I think there's always places that you can get better. I think for me, for Gibbs, it's the passing game. I think he can be so much more dynamic in that part of the game that I think they've only scratched the surface in what he can be and the kind of pressure that he can put on the defense when he's in there as a running back, but also utilized as a guy in the passing game. And him and Demo in there together, I think is devastating for a defense as well. I think that could be certainly big for them. So I think those, and I think Branch, look, they're really excited about what he can do at safety because they believe in this defense with the freedom that they give their safeties. If you have ball skills in this defense as a safety, you're going to be able to get plenty of chances to make plays on the ball, takeaways, things like that. So I think they're really excited if everybody's healthy and they can get him in there at safety. The only kind of, fly in the ointment there would be if they aren't healthy, you could see him back playing nickel if the guys in front of him aren't ready to go in week 1.
I mentioned those 3 guys. One guy I did not mention was a first-round pick last year that I'm very high on this year. What do you think Lions fans are going to get to see out of Jack Campbell?
I think 2 guys that have chances to take the biggest step forward this year are J-Mo and Jack Campbell. I think Campbell, towards the end of last year, got to the point where he wasn't thinking as much. He was going out there and reacting, using his athleticism. His trust in himself and the defense and the team's trust in him started to go up. Look, he's incredibly athletic for a guy that is, 6'5", 250 something.
Yeah.
You're talking about a big dude that can move. I want to see him out there, but I think he's got a chance to take a huge step in year 2. It's cliche, but they say, biggest step you take is from year 1 to year 2. I think in his case, that could certainly be the case because I just think it took him a while to get comfortable last year. The skills are mad skills that he's got when you look at the physical makeup of his ability. And I think I really just want to see what he does this year because I think he's got a chance. I said when I saw him that to me that's the guy that's going to lead you in tackles every year. I just think he's going to be a 135 tackle guy who's just going to go out there and put up big numbers. And I've got a feeling we might see that this season. I think it's really exciting to think about where he can go.
Dan, for entertainment purposes only, it's still a preseason. I'm going to give you a number. Tell me over or under. 10.5 wins.
Over. I think it's going to have to be over. You broke up. I'm assuming you're talking about the Lions. You didn't throw somebody else at me.
No.
But look, you're going to need to win probably 11 or 12 to win this division. And I think that's got to be your goal is to get to that point, win the division, get that home playoff game, whatever that ends up being, bye, no bye, but whatever it is, you get at least one game at Ford Field. But it's going to take that. And I think it'd be disappointing, all things being equal, if this is not an 11 or 12 win team. And whatever it is above that, great, or on that number, great. But to me, it's about winning the division, finding a way to get a home game in the playoffs, and that's what it's going to take to do it. Because Green Bay is going to be right there on your heels. And I don't think Chicago's going to be anything to mess with either. I think they're going to be pretty good. I think that defense is going to be good from the start, and they've surrounded Caleb Williams with weapons. Minnesota's got a lot going on. They won't be a picnic to play because of the guys that they have there. And anytime you got to play Justin Jefferson, that's a pain. But it's going to be a tough division, guys. So you're going to have to stack some wins to get it done.
Dan, thanks so much. I wanted, before I let you go, I know he's not working today, but an absolute shout out to Greg Canner. It's his 50th birthday today. Fox 2 sports producer. Been with Dan since day one. I was, by the way, his first hire as a sports intern in 1999.
How'd that go?
And look how it went. They're still paying me to do something. Smile.
Our process has gotten better since then.
It's improved.
It's improved since then. But we're listen. You know how important Greg is to what we do here, and we're proud of the fact that he's been here for 26 years, and that when we hired him, he had hair and no wife and no kids. Now he's got a beautiful wife and kids and no hair. I don't know how that works together, but it does.
Oh, I'm losing it myself now. Dan, thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, right. You be up on that. You know what time it is. All right. That's an inside.
Jesus.
Oh, man. Be up on that. Absolutely. No doubt. I'm telling you, these kids will make you lose that hair, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
just what I've been told.
He's got 3 daughters.
Just look
at this guy.
And no hair.
Right.
No hair.
I got a daughter that does figure skating and a kid that does karate. Now, I've been doing all these karate chops all day long for the last 48 hours, man. He's karate chopping my hair off right now.
He's going to be breaking things in the house now that he broke that board.
It's no different from no different than any other day.
Karate.
Absolutely.
Now when my kid babysits, he's not going to want to play movies. He's not going to want to play school. He's going to want to play karate.
Absolutely. Guys, we'll take a break, go around the NFL. We'll do it next, but first a message from...
And that black and yellow sign on in front of your house means and tells the bad guys one thing.
Stay out.
Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts, 24/7 professional monitoring, and technology backed by people. This technology has been proven to work, and these people have been proven to care. So call 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
Call today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you. Also, Woodward Sports is going to be sending you on Sundays to the morning show, Woodward in Maine, 8 to 9 a.m. with the legend legendary, the great Terry Foster and Matt Broder, followed by the Lions pregame show with the great Sean Baligian and Neil Rule. And this is all brought to you by Sabra Coffee Roasters and also Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. So be sure to check out Woodward in Maine on Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m., followed by the Lions pregame show, and then you can do the watch party and the postgame show with us as well. All coming up this season right here on Detroit's #1 sports network.
What?
Woodward Sports.
There you go.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Yo, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists. Enjoy a precision haircut, hot lather neck shave, scalp and neck massage, and a hot towel treatment to top it off. Enter for your chance to win the $50,000 Perfect Bracket Challenge. With more than 25 Metro Detroit locations, there's always a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's Haircut for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. Countdown to kickoff is here. Your Detroit Lions are ready for another season of grit. Woodward Sports is your #1 destination for all breaking news and Lions coverage. We are Detroit's #1 sports network. We are Woodward Sports.
And like the great artist Kendrick Lamar once said, when it comes to Lions coverage, they not like us, man. We got the watch party with the heavyweights, man, coming to you every Sunday, live from Hayes Social in Shelby Township. The big fellas go live just before kickoff, and we will catch all of their reactions. Make sure you're watching Easy and his Jared Goff takes. Got to keep them consistent. But also make sure you're sticking around for the post-game show with Stick and Anson, man. You're going to get their first reactions and maybe overreactions to all Lions games and immediate reactions to the game result. You can call in and also stop by Hayes Social to join us in the fun, man. You know we all having a great time, but it is both sponsored by Sabbath coffee, the watch party, and the post-game show. And if you need gear for the post-game and the watch party, then you know we got you at woodwardsports.com and click that merch tab. We got Lions gear. We got Tigers gear. If you think about Red Wings, we got that too. We got every team in the city to get you fresh and right for the game, but only if you go to woodwardsports.com and click that shop tab.
They not like us.
That's right. And welcome back, Woodward Sports Network. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway, KG, Pete Spivak with us. We'll check in on the Wolverines with our good friend Alex Zilkowski. We'll do that, our Wolverine Insider. We'll do that in about 10 minutes from now. In the meantime, I do want to go around the NFL. I'll get you some news and notes.
All right, guys. I've been talking about the Bears for a while. Bray's right with me. You just heard Dan Miller say, watch out. Listen to this stat, guys.
Okay.
The last 6 teams with a preseason point differential of plus 60 or more all made the playoffs. 2 of them made the Super Bowl. The Bears were plus 68 this preseason. Just want to throw that out there at you.
Look,
I know it's preseason. I know what I see. And I know what I saw against the Chiefs that last preseason game. And I know it's a throwaway game. I just been watching. Maybe I'm bought in because my kid had an internship there.
Yeah.
And I watched Hard Knocks, and I've watched every one of their preseason games.
Bias.
But I see a lot of talent on this team.
What's the line in Major League? And maybe the kids out there haven't seen the Major Leagues, but it is.
That's what's wrong with them.
You can tell a lot about how the season's going to go with the very first hitter of the season.
Yeah. Willie Mays Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes. And he does get on base. He gets picked off eventually. But yeah. I think with the Bears, you're going to be able to tell what kind of team this is going to be. And I know they've got a rookie quarterback, and he's going to get better as the year goes on probably. But I think you're going to learn a lot about the Bears week 1. It's a game you should win against the Titans. But the Titans are no pushover. They're my sleeper team to make some noise and potentially be a wild card team in the NFL, maybe even a division champion, to be honest with you. Which is fine. Fine.
Cap.
But I think you're going to learn a lot about the Bears week 1 against the Titans.
Look, I agree with Maz. Well, 100%. I think this is a team that's going to be a sleeper team. They're going to get into the playoffs. I like how the NFL has their schedule set up. They start off against your sleeper team. And I think they're going to be a sleeper team because they're going to be asleep the whole season. but at the end of the day, it's a good starting point for a team whose defense last year, I mean, you look at what the Bears defense did last year, 7 of those 8 games, like they destroyed the opposition, man. That's what you bring back this year. You've added some draft picks. But on the opposition now, on the offensive side of the ball, you have a guy that you believe in, and Caleb Williams is quarterback. But you didn't just bring him in by himself. DJ Moore is already there. Cole Kmet's already there. They get Rome Odunze. They double down with Keenan Allen. And then they bring in DeAndre Swift, who we know you give him space, he can run the ball. It is what it is. You give him space, you give him blocking, and their offensive line is revamped. So they start off against the Titans. I think it'll be a good win for them. And with guys, Ryan, all you got to have is a little bit of success to the next level to know you can do it. And once you have that success, you start to get that confidence, man. Get that confidence rolling. Game 1 against the Titans. Then they go against the Texans, who they got a lot of key pieces. They got a lot of fun, but like the Chicago Bears, they got to put it together. I like how their schedule lines up after that, man. So we shall see. But the game, the start, I think it bodes in Caleb Williams and the Bears' favor.
Hey, it all started going for them when they got Montez Sweat last year from Washington. Montez Sweat talked about his stint with the Commanders and said it was no picnic there. It was toxic in Washington. And now he goes to Chicago with, a new lease on life for him.
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, this is a player that completely changed the culture there, too, almost single-handedly. I don't want to say single-handedly, but things improved when he got there, period, on the field. They started winning. They started playing better. They made what they did great, even greater. That is my big. Make what you do. The best thing you do, try to make that better, and you're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, the move actually started with, if you want to be honest, and this is why you said you now have a newfound respect for Eberflus, is what did the move really start to see? And we all questioned it. That's when they got rid of one of the best linebackers in the NFL.
Yep.
They got rid of one of the best linebackers in the NFL, sent him to the Baltimore Ravens, and what did you tell yourself? This guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Yep.
But sometimes it goes back to conversation we had yesterday. You just gotta wait, see what the journey holds, man. Because I was scratching my head. I'm like, they got rid of to do what?
Right.
Then the moves you see now, that defense looked really good last year, and Montez Sweat was the catalyst and the spearhead that changed. So I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. Just not against Lions.
Listen, if it was 2020, the Dallas Cowboys would have one
Roquan
hell of a
Smith.
backfield.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott, and now Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook hasn't been with the team all camp. Last year with the Jets, he was basically a throwaway. I forgot where'd they let him go last year? Did he leave the Jets and go somewhere?
He went to Baltimore.
Did he go to Baltimore?
He went to Baltimore.
Yeah, he didn't do anything
Baltimore
for them.
did.
Good call there, Bray.
Yeah.
But he is now a Dallas Cowboy. And that brings me to my next point.
Look.
The GM of the Dallas Cowboys is none other than Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Here's what Jerry Jones said, right? You want to read what Jerry Jones said about
he does not.
Jerry's had enough.
I don't. You can read it for yourself. But owner Jerry Jones will remain the Cowboys general manager. Quote, nobody can bleeping get this bleep done better than me.
That is crazy.
I've done it all. So when I I have an ordinate amount of confidence. That bleep, if anybody can figure it out to get this bleep done, I can figure out how to get it done.
Sound like to me he in denial.
Jerry Jones.
Sounds like dementia's setting in.
Yeah.
Hey, when
See
you own
now,
the team,
man.
you can say that.
It's worth $10 billion.
Yeah. He must be living in the 90s still, though. Because what is he
Living
doing
in the
but strapping the team
living in the
financially at this
wild,
point?
wild west.
But hear me out on this. I hate that I have to agree with this because I don't. Man, hear me out.
Okay.
Hear me out. I hate that I have to agree with it because the way in which it's said, it's that old man that owns the team and can say whatever the hell he wants to and get away, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, oh, my God. But I agree.
Yeah, but
what is a GM's job to do? It's not to coach the effing team.
Oh,
It's
well.
to provide you with talent for the team.
I guess.
If you look at all the players that they've hit on, and I ain't talking first-round players. I'm talking about the second-round players, the fourth-round players. Look at Dak Prescott. He can't win the big game, but he damn sure throws for the most yards every year.
Fourth-round pick, right?
Fourth-round pick. Trayvon Diggs. He wasn't a first-round pick. If you stack
Talent.
the talent, it ain't Jerry Jones' job to coach the team. Now, we know he's handicapped them with the environment. Like, he's created this chaotic, hypocritical world out there. But if we're just talking GM's job, he don't only hit in the first round. He's got 3 Hall of Famers on the team right now.
And to further prove a point about Jerry Jones for 1 second, though.
Yeah, I hate that I'm agreeing, but I agree.
One of the problems with Jerry Jones is he's too loyal. He paid Ezekiel Elliott when he shouldn't
too
have.
much. Right.
He paid Terrell Owens when he shouldn't have.
And he's learning.
And so now everybody's like, well, where's my money, CeeDee Lamb? Or where's my money? Now you pay CeeDee Lamb. You should.
Yeah.
But he did. But now you're going to pay Dak? I mean, it is...
True.
One of his faults,
ready.
Right. One of his faults is he has been too loyal to his guys.
And Bray, you're not wrong, but most GMs do hire the coach too. So you mean to tell me you couldn't find a coach in 30+ years since they last Super
Mike
Bowl?
McCarthy's not a bad coach.
He's not a good coach either. Well, he's not the guy for the job. He's not going to get them over the hump.
I don't think he's hurting them.
Yeah.
Jason Garrett. I mean, we can go down the list of Cowboys coaches.
The problem is they had so much success in that 94, what in 90,
94, 95, oh yeah,
94 to 96.
Yeah,
they had so much success. I mean, they won 3 out of 4 Super Bowls. I think the 49ers are the only team to win a Super Bowl, not them. They won 3 out of 4. You had all that success, all those Hall of Famers, and now even though you've had sustainable success, hell, they're winning 13 games a year.
Yeah,
but you had all that success early on. You're synonymous with Super Bowls, so you get picked apart. Look at other teams we talking about that haven't won Super Bowls that are winning. We're like, oh, the Steelers.
Yeah.
We don't punish the Steelers like we do the Dallas Cowboys because everybody hates the Cowboys. I feel like I'm like Stephen A. Smith now. I'm like quietly becoming a Cowboys.
They just have all that talent and it never gets done. And to me, it's been because Jerry Jones doesn't want a coach that will challenge him. The last coach that was there that challenged him was Bill Parcells. Ever since then, he's won it.
Garrett, you got kicked.
Well, one of the things too about Jerry Jones is, and I don't know if it's challenged him. You're probably right about that. Yeah. But he don't want to pay a coach.
That too. Like
he doesn't want to pay a coach $12-15 million. Like I think Mike McCarthy is one of the lowest paid coaches in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I think that it's not so much a yes coach, but I do think that plays a role. I think he's a cheapo when it comes to the coach.
But I would push back on myself, and I would give you the credit in the last conversation because the last comment, you know what that is. He wants all the credit.
Yeah, exactly.
And therein lies the problem with Jerry Jones. He wants all the credit.
Mm-hmm.
The smart man gets out of the way of whatever you don't know. You don't know how to be a coach, but you hire the guy that'll take 3.5 to coach your team, let you make all the adjustments to your team, and occasionally let you go on radio shows and talk stuff about the team.
Right.
Talk stuff about the moves, who's not playing, who should be playing, where there should be a quarterback challenge. Remember that crazy stuff 2 years ago? Jerry's got to get out of his own way, and he won't be in that space for too much.
Can't wait for his Netflix special.
Guys, the Michigan Wolverines play a football game on Saturday. We'll talk to our Wolverine Insider, brought to you by our friends at Skinny Butcher. We'll do that next. But first, a message from
Swiss. There you go. Right now, more than ever, it's critical for you to have your insurance reviewed, and Swiss Insurance will make sure that your carrier is not slipping in those extra fees. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today, 313-530-1698, or head to SwissINS.com. We're coming back.
The countdown to kickoff is here. Your Detroit Lions are ready for another season of grit. Woodward Sports is your #1 destination for all breaking news and Lions coverage. We are Detroit's #1 sports network. We are Woodward Sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists. Enjoy a precision haircut, hot lather neck shave, scalp and neck massage, and a hot towel treatment to top it off. Enter for your chance to win the $50,000 Perfect Bracket Challenge. With more than 25 Metro Detroit locations, there's always a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's Haircut for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and WoodwardSports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
The summer is winding down, so why don't y'all like to play with Darren McCarty, Kirk Gibson, Braylon Edwards, or even Calvin Johnson? I know y'all want to get on that golf course. It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Register today and you can play like an MVP. Those spots are running out fast, so go to woodwardsports.com or click that QR code right above my head. And when it comes to your next car or truck, make the wise decision, y'all. It's Randy Wise Automotive.
And don't forget about KDK Law, dealing with divorce, child custody, visitation, or other family law issues. Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law in Birmingham will have your back. 10-plus years of experience, 24/7 availability. Scan the QR code on your screen or call 248-971-0476, 248-971-0476. Say Woodward Sports sent you, and KDK will pay your filing fee. KDK Law, they've got your back. Hey, time now to bring in our Wolverine Insider. It is Wolverine Wednesdays, brought to you by the Skinny Butcher. Alex Zilkowski is with us now. Alex, it is football week. It is game week. The Michigan Wolverines will play a game a couple of days from today. Fresno State coming to town, 7:30 on NBC. How you doing, Alex?
Yeah, I'm doing great. You know, as I said, game week feels like we've been waiting for absolutely ever for this to happen. But, you know, we also have a big week in general. You know, we had the game first week class up here in Ann Arbor, and, you know, we had a little movie that came out yesterday that might be of some importance as well. So a lot of exciting things going on right now.
It was a movie.
You brought it up. Go ahead and talk about it. What was your take on Connor Stallions, the untold story that just came out? First time he's spoken about the whole ordeal.
Yeah, so I thought it was an interesting watch. It was interesting to finally get to see a little bit about, you know, we've heard the name Connor Stallions for months, but we've, you know, never heard anything from him directly in his personality. So it was interesting to see that. But I think, you know, my main takeaway from the documentary is I don't really think this will change anyone's opinion on the sign stealing scandal or not. I think anyone, you know, who's pro-Michigan beforehand is always going to downplay how useful he was, and anyone who is against Michigan is always going to, you know, watch it and see, oh my gosh, it was so important. They knew all the plays. They knew it was coming. So although I thought it was an entertaining watch, I don't think it really is going to move the needle for anyone one way or the other on their opinions on Michigan.
That's perfectly said.
Yeah.
Perfectly said, Alex. That's a mic drop.
And then you saw the head coach of East Tennessee State came out today and was like, I watched this thing, and he puts up 6 points about how this is essentially a nothing burger. You know, Michigan won because of talent. Sign stealing decides very little results of the game, all that and so forth. What effect do you think something like that has with the players, Alex? I know they're probably not commenting about it publicly, but we talk about the timing. They are the defending national champions. This is game week.
Say it again.
This is a couple of days before they'll play a football game. New coach, new quarterback, and what have you. What effect do you think this has on the team, if any?
I think very minimal effect in general. You know, yesterday, too, the players who spoke at the press conference were Clell Mullings and Mason Graham. And their two comments were, you know, the first was from Clell Mullings, and his was a lot more poignant. He said, this is a team, this is a program, they're used to the outside noise and have been dealing with it for so long, or this is just another little bump in the road, and it really doesn't bother them anymore. Then Mason Graham, when he was asked about what were his thoughts on the documentary, he said he's probably going to watch it later in the night once he got home from Schembechler Hall. So I don't really think there's much effect on, if any, on any of the players over there.
Yeah, nothing concerned themselves with it, so let's change the topic. Let's talk about the Fresno State Bulldogs. We've asked you a million questions about Michigan. Who's going to be the quarterback? What's the offense going to do this year? What are they going to look like without Rod Moore? I'm tired of asking about Michigan. We need to focus on the Fresno State Bulldogs, who's starting a coach. 8 of the 12 teams in the Mountain West are starting new quarterbacks. Coaches. One of them is Tom Skipper. What do we need to know about Fresno State? Because let's face it, Alex, as much as we want to talk about Michigan, this isn't last year. This isn't Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. This isn't the best offensive line in the game. This isn't that defensive line. This is a new year, new team, lost a lot. Is there something that we need to be worried about, these Fresno State Bulldogs?
Yeah, I mean, the Fresno State, they have a new head coach, but it's an internal one because a little over a month ago, their former head coach, Jeff Tedford, had to step down because of health issues. But, you know, Fresno State, they've been very consistent. For years, they've been an air raid offense. They've been famous for that. You know, both the Carr brothers and Devontae Adams came out of there. Yep. And last year, only 5 teams in college football threw the ball more than them. So, you know, it's going to be a big test for Michigan in that secondary. And, you know, we're going to see how well Jair Hill does in his first time as a starter. We're going to see how well we do without Rod Moore on the field. It will really test his Martindale system. But one thing that I think is going to be very useful for Michigan playing such an air raid heavy team is that, you know, Texas is down 2 running backs. They're down to 3 running backs. Not to look ahead too much the week ahead, but it'll be a very good test for the, you know, new starters and stuff week 1 dealing with that type of offense. And then, you know, on the defensive side of the ball, Fresno State's been pretty solid. You know, they're not much to write home about, but they are one of the better group of 5 teams. One player to watch, though, is Corey Foreman, who was actually the #1 recruit a few years ago in the country, went to USC, never really worked out there, and transferred into Fresno State and is looking for some new life. So that is going to be one of the most important guys to watch for them.
Little random trivia. Who gave me my first college Power 5 scholarship offer?
Marshall.
Well, his name was just mentioned. That's all I brought up. Jeff Tedford used to be at Cal.
Oh, no kidding.
Tedford was at Cal. He recruited me when I was at Cal and told me, he said, man, we got a guy that we got an eye on that can come here and play with you. And that ended up being Aaron Rodgers.
No kidding. Wow, what a story. Hey,
I missed out.
Wow, you could have been in the green room with Aaron Rodgers.
No, I wouldn't.
You were.
But then I wouldn't have played.
Right.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't have been in the green room. I'd have been a second, third round draft pick.
Hey, Alex, I wanted to ask you about the running back position. Obviously, look, this team over the last handful of years, Hassan Haskins, Blake Corum, now Donovan Edwards seems to be the guy. Let me ask you, do you anticipate Donovan Edwards being elevated to be that Hassan Haskins, Blake Corum guy, or do you believe he will play a similar role from what he did 2 years ago almost, not so much last year, and have, Mullings take over, or even Marshall get a bulk of the carries? What do you think the role is going to be for Donovan Edwards here?
Oh, I 100% think Donovan Edwards firmly takes over the role as the guy at the running back position. This offseason, word came out that he put on about 15 pounds of muscle and stuff while still, looking pretty fast. And we've seen his long speed and all that. So I think he's really been preparing himself, both physically and mentally to go ahead and be the guy. And I think that also shows on the mental side with him being, elected captain by his teammates, that he's really ready to step up and be a leader and play as much as he needs to.
And then what do you anticipate from some of these freshmen, like a Jordan Marshall? Do you think we will see him? Do you think he'll have much of an impact this year, or not?
Yeah, I mean, all the past few weeks, the coaches have been talking about two freshmen in particular who, from the outside looking in, it kind of seems like they're going to be too good to keep off the field. Jordan Marshall is constantly cited as one of the best, and he's coming in with a pretty college-ready frame. He wasn't an early enrollee, but he measured in on Michigan's roster, I think, at 5'10", 205. So, that's a college-ready running back right there, size-wise. First Mr. Football out of Ohio we've gotten since Charles Woodson. Then the other one is Dominic Nichols, who's a true freshman edge rusher, where if you really look at Michigan's edge depth chart right now, you have TJ Guy, then you have Derek Moore and Josiah Stewart, but there is kind of, a gap for that fourth for someone to really step up. And I think, Dominic Nichols, he's coming in and he's another really big guy with a college-ready frame, and I think he could go ahead and be a guy who's too good to keep off the field.
Yeah, Alex, wanted to ask you about the offensive line for Michigan. This is a whole new offensive line and something that I don't think a lot of people are talking about, man. To me, that's maybe an area of concern. What should this offensive line look like when you got a talented running back like Donovan Edwards and, for all intents and purposes, a mobile quarterback in Alex Orji? What should we expect from this new offensive line?
Well, first off, I still expect this offensive line to be top 10 in college football. You have a lot of experienced guys in Miles Hinton and Giovanni Alhadi and Josh Prebu's second team All Big Ten guard last year. So we really have two question marks, and those are at center and right tackle. But the thing that I think is most reassuring, which makes me think it will be a very good offensive line, is the fact that when you're looking at the battles for center and right tackle, is primarily filled with guys who are either veterans or one young challenger, but it isn't a bunch of young guys who Michigan's looking to step up. It's guys who have been in the building for years, developing under Moore and Newsome. So that gives me a lot of confidence that we will have an offensive line that is the strength of our team, which will be so important if we want to make a deep run in the college football playoff.
And then defensively, we talk about this defense like they're the 85 Bears. What do we know about Wink Martindale? This team has had this is their third defensive coordinator, I think, in the last 3 years. What effect will that have on this defense and these players?
I mean, yeah, it might be our third defensive coordinator since, the Harbaugh Renaissance kind of started a few years ago. But both Jesse Minter and Mike McDonald were trained on the Ravens staff by Wink Martindale in this scheme. So, I really think there isn't going to be a lot of turnover or difference in the scheme. But one thing that I also find very interesting when talked about is Wink Martindale's original background and job was as a school teacher as well. And it really seems like from what's coming from everyone, he's really enjoyed being back with the youthful kids in college and is really enjoying teaching them the game of football and teaching them the scheme. So I think going forward, yes, I do think he will blitz a little more than Jesse Minter and Mike McDonald because he blitzed a lot in the NFL. But I think, we're going to see a pretty similar scheme to what we're used to seeing at Michigan, and I expect way more domination out of the defense.
Cannot wait until Saturday. What's your prediction? Let us know. Give me a final score.
Pain.
Okay, let me preface Let me preface it with this. Fresno State over the last 5 years have played 8 Power 5 opponents, and 7 of those 8 games have either been a one-possession loss or an outright win.
Wow.
The only one that was not was Caleb Williams versus Caleb Williams in the Coliseum in 2022. With that being said, I think Michigan's O-line and D-line is too much for them to handle, so give me Michigan by 17.
All right.
So
There you go.
Fresno covers.
Fresno would cover the game.
Yep, 21
There you
and a
go.
half.
That's right. Good job. All right, Alex, we'll talk to you next
Great
week,
job,
my
Alex.
friend. Enjoy the game.
Talk to you guys next
Are
week.
you're covering the game, right? Covering the game?
Yes, I will be.
Absolutely.
Send me a picture. Send me a
down the
picture.
road. I'll be in the suites as well.
There you
Pop
go.
in on you.
Absolutely. All right, Alex, thanks so much. Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. College football. Our picks will be back on Friday.
Oh, hell, I forgot to ask Alex.
What?
I want to park at his place so I can go to the game.
That'll be $100.
Right.
He's still there. Hang on. He's still there. Hang on. He's still there. Maz, he's still there. Go ahead and ask him.
Go ahead, Maz.
He's still there.
Alex, you got to tell me directions to your place so I can park for free.
Alex, you got to charge him $100 for that
Forget
parking
that.
spot.
The mass tag.
I got you in.
And make sure you paint his car.
Don't worry, anytime, Maz.
All right, buddy.
That's great. All right,
he's
my man.
gone.
Good job. Bray, get us out of here.
Fun show. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. Look, we're getting excited. You heard Intern Alex no longer an intern. Michigan season is coming. That means the rest of college football is coming. We're going to do the best to bring you watch parties, pre-watch parties, all that type of stuff. What was sports? We're doing it big. This year it's going to be a lot of fun. For my man Ryan Ermanni, Tom Maz away, KG and Pete. To my right, we are Ermanni and that was for Maz, and we wish you a good night.